Welcome back. In this video, we're describing about the customizable options on the appointments. As long as we have the administration permissions enabled, you should be able to access the administration menu, and we will be landed into the administration side of things. So we are on dashboard administration, and we're choosing appointments here because we're going to make changes to the appointments calendar or customize the appointment calendar the way that we need. So I'm choosing appointments from this drop down menu in this menu. The first and foremost thing that we will see now on the left hand menu options have changed. As you can see, we are on dashboard administration and we are on the sub menu called appointments. So in appointments, we can see the first option is the anesthetic choices, appointment statuses up to holiday. So these are the level of things. These are the different fields that we can customize or configure um, for our clients, and all this information will be captured from our clients during the information gathering phase in the implementation. Now, the first option is anesthetic choices. For the procedure appointments, there will be always an anesthetic surgeon in anesthetist involved, so we can customize this list, and if you're choosing an appointment time, this will appear as a drop down. So depending on the type of anesthetics that specific practice providing to the client, this list can be customized. Again, just like a simple entry, by clicking on new, we can enter the anesthetic name, when we can mark that whether it's required an anesthetist or not, and make it active as well. So very straightforward. Moving to the next one, appointment statuses. Appointment statuses system has got some default appointment statuses. However, we can add more as required. We can remove the ones that we don't need. Again, appointment statuses are like when the patient arrives, we can change the appointment statuses to arrived, um, booked, cancelled, whatever we need. Again, that's a simple entry. We can click on new at the very top, add a code. Code is just like an identification, and this is the code that's going to be displayed on the calendar view, which I'll show you in a minute. And we can add a description as well, and the condition, whether it's a confirmed type appointment, cancelled appointment, unconfirmed, or it's ready for billing type of appointment, or a completed appointment. Um, Now, let me quickly give you an idea about the appointment statuses view on the appointments calendar that we described before. Here you can see that for these specific appointments, we're seeing the status called ONL and over here. So let's have a look at the code ONL on the statuses. What's that is for? So ONL stands for requested. So it's an unconfirmed appointment. That's an appointment which is booked through online, and it's a requested appointment. So at any point in time, I can right click on this one and change the appointment status to something else. For example, arrive. And at that point in time, you will notice that changed on the appointment statuses. This is like an easy identification for the status of each appointment. And this list is completely configurable. And once we configure this list on administration side of things, on the appointment calendar, this is where we're going to see that list. I'm just right clicking, and this will give me the option to see all of these statuses. Now, appointment triggers. We system has the capacity to generate automated SMS, email from the system in relation to the appointments booked, and it can be a reminder trigger or a creation trigger, or it can be a status change trigger as well. We are describing about these triggers and how the SMS system works in detail in the next video. So I'm just skipping that for the moment, and we'll be coming back to this option in detail in the next video. Appointment types. This is an important part of configuring the appointments calendar for the clients. We can see that the appointment types listed. Again, like a simple entry, we can click on new, we can choose a code, description, basically description of the appointment, category, whether it's a consultation appointment, procedure appointment, recall or waiting list, duration. This is the default duration. It can be changed always. Background color, that has the system has the complete functionality that the client can choose the color that they like, even the text color. and if there is any associated forms that they will be performing as part of that assessment, that they can choose it from here, which will be useful from a list view. Cool down period, working days. This is basically the days that we should consider before booking an appointment. Let's say if we say for a specific appointment there are 2 cool down period or 2 working days. When we find out when we finding out the next available appointments from the system from today, the system will not display the next available appointment for tomorrow and after. This will only appear from day after tomorrow onwards as well. So depending on how many days cooling period that we need, we can add and figure there, so that the system will not display any next available appointments for that set number of days. Checklist. We can define a checklist in the system, which is in a different part of the configuration. And if there is, this list is completely configurable. And if there is such checklist that is involved as part of this appointment, we can choose it from here as well. Enabled for theater, is it a procedure? If it is a procedure appointments, we can enable it. Disabled online booking, are we allowed to have clients booking these appointments online? Enable student, in this instance of care, right, the word student is a translated phrase. The actual word is enable assistance. So if we need assistance involved in these appointments, in the case of procedures, we can enable that. Telehealth, if we are taking telehealth for this appointment type, choose that. Overlap checking, if there is an overlap for that specific appointment type, we can check that as well. So we can exempt this specific appointment type being get checked from that. Now, once we set up an appointment type, it will display like this. You can see the code that we enter, description, sort order. That's basically the list order. Color, text color enabled for theater. We can see the all options that we have seen in the previous screen. Now, coming back to the appointment calendar view, for this specific appointment, if I click on edit here, I'm just clicking on edit. Here we can see that the specific appointment type chosen is the daily consultation. So basically, this is the list that we are defining on the other screen that I just shown you before. On the appointment types, you can see that administration side of things, we have got a list variety of appointment types, whereas on this one we are only seeing 3. The reason for that is appointment types are encapsulated into calendar sessions. So calendar session type, will have only a allowed number of appointment types. So for this specific calendar type, for this provider, he is only taking 3 appointment types. That's the reason we're seeing only 3 on this drop down. The next one is the calendar option. So this is more of like a general setup around appointments. Appointments enabled start time and stop time, which is the start time and stop time for our calendar from 7 to whatever time that we need. We can tell the system that duration, whether it's a 15-minute slot, 20 minutes slot, we can do that. What should be the booked status? Again, it's choose from the drop down. Cancelled status, default confirmed status, what it should be, a warned referral. So these are basically the warnings, or if there is there is no active referrals on the patient file, the system will give you a warning. While trying to book an appointment, warn account, if there is an outstanding amount on the specific patient and you're trying to book an appointment for that patient, system will give you a warning. If there is an invoice that's been sent to debt collector and marked as debt, that will give you warning when you book an appointment for that patient next time. Check provider of referral. In some circumstances, there will be an active referral. However, that active referral can be for a different provider or for the practice itself. So if you need the system to check if that specific referral is for the specific provider whom we are booking appointment is for, we have to check this box. If you need a progress note, update the progress note, we can check this one. Double booking system allows double booking. However, it can be not completely won or disallowed depending on the client choice. Use provider initial. For this instance, you can see that this displaying this specific calendar, this specific instance of care, right, displays the whole provider name. Instead, you can see just the provider initials. If that's your preference, you can make use of this checkbox. Single reservation. Reservations can be booked in the system. Likewise, how we book an appointment. When we click on this button, this will give us two options: create a reservation and create appointment. Create appointment, as the word indicates, we are booking an appointment for a patient for a chosen time, whereas create reservation is we just simply blocking out a some time. We just blocking out a time without that's not entitled to any patient record. So this is what the process of creating a reservation. For some reason, that specific provider is not available for that specific time. So we holding that time period. And system allows multiple reservation. And if we say no, shouldn't be, then we can choose to check this box. Show notes. Appointment related note. For example, if we edit here on this specific appointment and add some notes, let's say we're just adding some notes here. Hitting update appointments, and if we check the box show notes, this will display the notes on the screen itself. You can see that you are seeing the appointment notes that's been entered. The reason for that is we have checked this box already. Show MRN, medical record number. For an appointment type, we are only seeing the patient name, which is test.y.test. We're not seeing the patient MRN, and if we want to see that medical record number unique identifier, we can check that box. Allow another user to convert a reservation to an appointment. Okay, now I booked a reservation here, and this will tell you specifically this is reserved by Taslima. So I'm the only user who can release this reservation so that somebody else can either book an appointment or make use of this time for another reservation. If the clients don't want everybody to let the release the reservation, we can uncheck that box so that only that specific user who created the reservation can release the reservation. Show theater menu for those clients. It has to be activated for those clients. Then they will see this theater list menu. Hide a provider with no session. Okay, so by default, when we landing onto dashboard appointments, you can see that we are only seeing Darling's Hall's calendar today. The reason for that is he's the only one who is working today. But when we go to 3 next days view, we can, and coming back to 1 day view, we can see that we have got a couple of other providers who's working or who's appearing on the same calendar view, which is called online appointments. However, we are not seeing that. The reason for that is this checkbox is booked, checked, hide a provider with no session. So that entries will not be listed there. Room assignment, in order to enable room assignment and appointment level, disable all providers calendar view. It's by default system has got a all provider calendar view, so this is disabled here. Show canceled appointment in theater list. So there will be processes where procedures gets booked and then canceled later. So if you want to get those appointments listed in the bottom of the screen, you can make use of that checklist. Again, regarding the theater list, we'll be talking about that in detail in one of the next video. Online booking setup, a default online booking status, what it should be. Online booking status after the payment. So once the patients get booked through online, they will get the option to make the payment as well. So what should be the status once they made this payment? That's what this field is for. Privacy policy, you are an online booking user. Again, calendar views. This is the list where we're going to customize different views, and we can define these views to individual individual providers whom we're booking appointment is for. So these are the calendar views. Again, in order to add a new calendar view, which is straightforward, just add a code and description. That's all. So these are the general calendar option setups in the system. Now we're moving across to calendar session types. In each calendar session type, there will be only allowed appointment types. So An organization may have 10 or 20 appointment types. We will be restricting those appointment types per session types, which means a session type can be consultation, procedure, review, etc. Even in the consultation session type, they can have 3 different appointments: initial appointment, uh, follow-up appointments, or regular consultation, etc. So in each session type, you have to define the session type and which location, service location that is entitled with. Uh, and we have to choose which are the allowed appointment types in that specific calendar session type. Again, we have to set up the appointment types first, which is the one that we described before. Once we set up the appointment types, then we can set up this calendar session type by clicking on new. We can just call it with a name, entitle that with the location, color, default appointment type, create a new calendar session type. Once we create a new calendar session type, you should be able to click on this button, edit, and choose the appointments that's going to be activated in this session type. So it's just a checkbox we can choose. That means those are the appointments that's going to be available for that specific session type. Now, calendar session, this is where we're going to set up the calendar for each provider. Now, I'm just choosing for Dr. Darlene Hall, whom we know that there is a existing session. So this is the schedule for Dr. Darlene for this week. You can add a new calendar session by clicking on new at the top. How to use the date, start time, end time, location, and what type of session he's taking. Whether it's a consulting one or a training appointment, casual session, what are the sessions. Session name, we have to give it a session name and create calendar session type. We can, once we set up for a week, we can clone for the following weeks by clicking on this button at the top, and we can choose, we can see that these sessions are already cloned up to the week 7th of October. So we can choose the dates for the week starting, and we can update that. This means that specific week will also get copied the same sessions that we schedule. So we only have to schedule 1 week and we can clone it from thereafter. Holidays, we can list down the holidays here. So this will prevent appointments get booked on that specific day and accidentally getting session defined for that specific days as well. This is the end-to-end appointment settings in the system. And the next video, we're talking about in detail regarding the setup of appointment related SMS. That's where we're going to focus on appointment triggers more specifically. Thank you.